Hi, viewers. You are welcome to the Directorate of Entrepreneurship and General Studies, National Open University of Nigeria. Certificate in Education in Entrepreneurship Education. Today, we are going to look at Module 2, titled Creativity and Innovation. I am Dr. Helen B. Inya, the facilitator for today. Our intended learning outcomes are as follows. By the end of this module, you will be able to create a problem-solving idea. You'll also be able to turn those ideas into innovations and identify the determinants of business success. Now we are going to look at, I will ask this question. What is a creative problem solving? A creative problem solving involves approaching a problem in an imaginative, innovative, and unconditional way. This process encourages you to find a new creative way of thinking that can help you overcome the issue at hand quickly. Now, when you are looking at a creative way of solving problems, it helps you to find a new way of thinking. And this way of thinking will now help you to be able to solve your problem as quickly as possible. So we are also going to look at the steps, various steps involved in creating problem-solving processes. The CPS process can be broken into 7 steps as follows. The first step is identification of goals. Before you can solve any problems, you need to fully understand the problems you are going to solve. You may have to either overlook this or misunderstand some details, but you have to take time to analyze the conflicts involved in solving of this problem. And then by so doing, you'll be able to clear up the confusions. The next step we are going to consider is for you to gather data, that's information about the impending problem you intend to solve. So once you know what the problem is, you need to learn all you can do about it. You learn how to, whatever you can do about it. Who does these problems affect? That means you have to identify your target customers. You have to identify your target markets, the customers. Who are those people that you want to solve this problem for? Then who is involved in solving this problem? So gather all the knowledge you can to gain a better understanding of these issues and solve this problem for your targets, customers, or audience. The next thing you need to consider is the formulation. Is the formulation of, you formulate challenging questions concerning the problems. After you might have gathered details information about the problems, then you now turn the problem into questions. That is the word questions in a way that will be able to encourage suggestions or answers or ideas. It should be short, coincide, and only focus on a single issue. That is how the questions will look like. Once you create one or two questions, then you have to make attempts to answer them. And have this at the back of your mind that these questions will be concise, it will be very short. It's not question that you will start cracking your head on how to answer them. It should be a straightforward question. It should be a single, it should focus on just a single issue. And once you have been able to do this, then you start to answer the questions. The next one is explore the ideas. So this step is where the brainstorming begins. You have to brainstorm. You'll be creating possible ideas or solutions to the problems you are facing. This is usually when creativity really starts. That is brainstorming, is where creativity really starts to flow. With so many ideas flowing in your mind, it's crucial that you write each of them down. That's the various ideas that comes into your mind. Sometimes the ideas may sound very stupid, but make sure that you pin them down, down, write them. Even if the ideas that comes up that has little to no chance of working, that is, it sounds so stupid. It is good that you write them down. Make sure that you write them down. Then try to sort out the bad ideas from the good ones. During these steps, you can now squeeze out creativities. By the time you now sift them out, those ones you think they are not really good, keep them aside. The ones that are good, then you can now use them. You start bringing in creativity into it. You marry them together. So to keep your ideas organized, you have to consider using flowcharts or mind mappings or templates in order to keep these ideas well. So they will capture your ideas and help you help you come up on, that is, zero in on the perfect solution. All these ideas, you exploit them, bring them, sift them out, get good ones, and then we'll be able to come out with a perfect solution to the problems. So by the time you exploit these ideas, the next thing you come up with is the solution. Come up with solutions. By coming up with solutions, now you weed out the average ideas from the winners by testing each one. You test them one after the other. See if the possible solutions actually solve the problems you are having in mind. If it can, you can implement it successfully. Then if the potential solutions doesn't resolve the idea, then move on to the next idea. So by the time you were exploring, you have some ideas, so many of them, Then you sift them out, you collect them. Then those ones you think they are not really good, then throw them away. And then come up with those ideas that you think they are okay for you. Then start solving the problem one after the other. Start implementing, start testing. By the time you test them and then discover that out of these numerous ideas you have, and then those ones that you have been able to use to resolve the problem, then you move on to the next idea now. Then evaluate each ideas. Evaluating each ideas will help you zero in on a perfect solution. You get ideas, test them, come up with them. So by the time you evaluate each ideas now, it will help you to come up on a zero, will help you zero in on a perfect solution. Because by the time at least you know which one fits in to your problem. The ideas, the numerous ideas you have, which one among them fits into the problem. Then by the time you have done this, now you come up with a perfect, you create an action plan. You now create an action plan. Now that you have a perfect solution, you need to create an action plan outlining implementation steps. Consider what resources you will need and how long it will take. Then write it all down. Once you create the plan, communicate the approach to the rest of the team, as depending on how many are in your team, so that they'll also be aware of what is happening. That means you have done. Now you get to the last stage. As you have now created an action plan and then communicate it to the members of your team. And then now the next thing you need to do is to take an action. Take action. With your plan created, your team on board, it's time for you to implement your solution and resolve the problem. That settles the whole thing. So by the time the problem is resolved, then it's good to go. The next thing we are going to consider is how to turn the idea into an innovation. How will you turn your idea? How to turn idea into innovation. The first thing you have is to ask questions. Ask questions. Constructive questions that will help you. So the first, explore if there is a real demand for your ideas. You ask questions. Guys, too often people are putting time and effort into an idea that nobody really cares about. It doesn't mean, but if you are putting time and effort, if you are wondering if you stumble upon something valuable, then ask your potential customers, those people that you are target customers, your target market, ask them questions. In the end, there are the ones that will determine your success, because you may have a particular idea in mind or a particular way of solving this problem, but it is the customers in question. When you ask this, your customers questions now, they will be the one to tell you, this is how this thing should be done. And this is our test. If you can do this thing and come out this way, I think you will succeed. You will meet the test of your customers. If you already have customers, if you already have customers check, if they are willing to pay for your new ideas or new products or services. Then if they do see values in your ideas, if they have seen value in your ideas, try to figure out why they like it. Ask them questions. Why do you like these products? Because sometimes what you think, what you conceive in your mind may be quite different from customers' opinions. Yes, you have come up with a product and they like it. Then the next thing you need to do now, ask them, why do you like this product? You don't need to assume. Always double check. You don't need to assume, this is what I assume that this is why they like this. No, double check. Sometimes customers will like your products because of a different reasons. But if you are not really careful, you might miss out. They will like your products for different reasons than the one you expect, you are thinking. They might even help you to develop better proposition about your idea, about your business. So when you are asking them questions, when you are bringing in this discussion, don't ever talk about money. Instead, talk about value. What value do you intend to add? And what do they need about it? So what do your customers gain from your idea? What problem does your idea solve for your customers? Don't ever talk about money. What value does it create for them? Let your customer do the talking, but you do the questions. You ask them this question. Allow them to talk, to tell you their own opinion. Don't try to sell them. Don't try to sell them anything. Just investigate. If there is need for your ideas, you don't need to tell them anything. If you don't have customers, try a different approach. You could, for example, set up a Google ad campaign or use crowd findings or fundings to check if there is demand for your products or service. That's the first thing you need. Tell them the values you intend to add. And when you are asking them questions, what values does this business of mine or the products of mine or the services of mine create? Then allow them to do the talking. If there are no questions or no customers around the target markets, you can go on Google App campaign, or you source crowd. You source crowd to check if there is demand in your product. Then the next thing you need to do is to build a prototype. An idea is nothing. Build a prototype. Before you do anything else, make your idea tangible. No, when you conceive an idea, it's just nothing. But this idea, make sure that it is tangible. Make your idea tangible. Idea should be more concrete right away. It should be a concrete one. The reason why your idea, that is the reason why your idea or why ideas almost never see the light of the day is because they are kept in mind of what the creator of the creator, that is, they don't bring it out. It is one thing to conceive an idea, but it is another thing to sell out this idea to people. But if you don't bring out this idea, if you don't sell it, then if you are a shy type, no, I don't want people to laugh at me. You have not started. You are not an innovative person. So give your idea a name and a face. Now make a drawing. Create a story board. Logo, breaks, and then whatever you can get your hands on, go ahead and do it. What are you doing? You are going to showcase your product. So use clay sometimes also. Use tapes. Use prints. Use pens. Use paper to make sure that you showcase your idea to the public. Even when the most abstract concepts can be made concrete. Things that people think is impossible, and this one is not realistic. It can't come up if you are an innovative type. Look for ways of bringing your ideas to the open for people to see and appreciate. Give them the reasons why your idea is needed. Don't fall in love with vagueness, opaque of the things that will never come up. If you want to be an innovator, learn to make things visual, visible. Then great ideas are like legendary stories, legend stories. Their synopsis can be explained in only one or two sentences, and often even in a key that is a key visual. Make it just in a few sentences, you are done. You have come up with your prototype. You have showcased what you have and leave it there. Then the next thing, how to turn your idea into an innovation is to share your ideas. Share your ideas to the public. Share your ideas to your intended customers. Share your ideas to your associates, to people around you. You know, as after you might have developed that prototype, it is time to put your ideas on a test. Share it with the world. You know, it's not everybody that will like your idea. Some will laugh you to scorn. Yes, people will laugh you to scorn. And they probably will make fun of you, fun of your ideas. Hey, this one, you don't get waiting to do. You don't have what to do. Then why are you coming? Hey, you can go and sleep. Why don't you just go and sleep in your house? Don't give a damn to that. Sometimes they will also paint your idea, make it very ugly. They will make your idea very ugly. In fact, make fun of you. Look at your idea as if it can never happen. But I want to tell you that don't give up. No idea is born perfect. When you are starting business, no idea is born perfect. If you are an innovator, a creative thinker, your idea will not look real. It won't look real. It won't look perfect. But the only thing is that your determination will bring that idea of yours to the light. So don't hide it simply because this idea is too fragile. No, how can I do it? Put it out there and collect the feedback. Share it to people. Let them laugh at you. Even when they are laughing, it's not everybody will laugh. There are some people that will see sense in their work, and then they will give you a very good, a constructive feedback. They will give you a feedback that will help you to come out of that will help you to put it well and then come out to solve problems. Like I said, don't hide it simply because it's too fragile. Put it out there and collect feedback. So, and then how can you make it stronger? If you hide your idea, there is no way you'll be able to make it stronger. What is good about this idea? People will ask, what is good about this idea? What can you add to it that is value added? What add value will you add to this idea? If it may be something that has been in existence, but you can add value to it to make it unique and perfect. And what can you remove? That is a feedback you have from people, those that want to give you the feedback. They are not everybody that you share the idea to, like I said, that will give you a constructive feedback. Then by the time you share it to the world, they will give you feedback. Some will be so ugly, some will be very good. They will ask you, what can you remove from this? Or what can you add? Then you also see how are people responding to it, negatively or positively. What do they like or hate about your business or your idea? What do people like or hate about it? You still put them. How are they interacting with you? Then now collect the feedback, all this feedback. Go back to the drawing board, analyze them, and bring them together. You will see that your idea will come out perfect. Then the next thing you do is to develop minimum viable products, MVP. Develop a minimum viable product. Prototyping is a great method to explain an idea. It will also allow you to collect feedback and might lead to great ambassadors. Usually, you need to take your idea one step further to earn money with it. By the time you have gathered all this information, share the idea, get the fund, then assemble them and then put it into working. Then now what you are doing, you work towards a minimum viable products, viable products. This is a great way to develop something valuable with minimum resources. By the time you get all this, now you say, okay, let me try it. Then you bring in all the ideas you gathered, the data you gathered, put them together, and then you come up with a viable product. Then by the time you come up with this viable product, say, what's the minimum your customers are willing to pay? You now sell it out, at least with a reduced price. You are just starting. You don't need to make gain at that point in time. Come up with this a minimum viable, just a small one. Then give out the price to the customers. At that initial stage, your target is not to make money or to make gain, to make profit from it. But you want to see if your idea, your product, your service will be appreciated in the market or by your customers. How much are they willing to pay? Then what's the simplest vision of your idea that you can change people for, or you can charge people for? Then by the time you do, and then come up with this, once this idea has been able to meet the needs, solve the problem of the customers, you see, one after the other, they will decide for it. Then the next thing you consider is use a business model. In the course of this education, you also come to know about business modeling. So you use a business model canvas. This is going to be another topic entirely. But I want to also bring you to the knowledge of it. The business model canvas has become quite a trendy, and it is, and not without reasons. A business model canvas is a great tool to make your entire business clear in one single slide. You put them. You considered that the canvas will help you to bring clarity to the abstract part that is in the business side of an idea. So you can see now the methods exist out, that is, these models we have exist in 9 building blocks. The models is made of, the business canvas model is made of 9 building blocks that you can use to get better understanding of your potential ideas. The first thing is you start by defining your customer segments. Who are your customer segments? Who are your target customers? Then you map out who you want to serve and what their needs are. Who are they? Who are they? And what is missing out in their lives? It is the business model canvas that will help you to itemize this. Then go back to your idea. What is the value proposition? Once the business canvas is there, what added value does it deliver? What is unique? What is your unique selling point? What makes your idea so different from others? So all the 9 steps are explained on the business model canvas, which you will be exposed to in the course of the training or education. So the first 2 steps that I've just mentioned are crucial for your ideation and preposition, and you have their own canvas. They are crucial in your ideas, your customer segments, your value presupposition. These are very, very crucial in your business ideas. So try to generate as many business model canvases as possible. Try to find several ways in which your idea can earn you money. Sell data, collaborate with others. That is when you are talking about collaboration. Your team, those people that you need in the business. Collaborate with other companies. Use it as a single generator in success in your business. It will lead you to succeed in this business. The next thing is to develop a product roadmap. You develop a product roadmap. Always think ahead and consider what the next version of your ideas might look like. As an innovator, you don't need to be static. You should be dynamic, a dynamic thinker. Think ahead. Focus. By By next year, between now, once I've started, in the next 2 years, where will I be? What will happen to my business? How will I break through? What progress will I make? You should have this in mind. So what are your ambitions? What is the potential of your ideas? If you want to sell your ideas to your customers, or to your GOs, your team, make sure that you can paint a vivid picture of your action, of your business. Paint a vivid picture of where you are going to in the business. Think in visions and in results. Always measure your action. Name every new visions you have. Give it a deadline to accomplish. Describe its new features. Define what you want to achieve. And define how you are going to measure this success. You must be agile, work agile, and keep your eyes at the horizon. Know where you are going to, or to use the word of, know where you are going to. Focus, have a focus. Don't be distracted by others. Set a target to accomplish it. Make sure that you develop a product's roadmap. Then, having gone look at this preliminary stage of creativity and innovation, now let us look at what creativity and innovation looks like, what they are. What is creativity and innovation? Creativity is the ability to develop new ideas and to discover new ways of looking at problems and opportunities. Creativity is the act of turning new and imaginative ideas into realities, things that seem impossible. With the creativity, you turn them into realities. You make them happen. You make what they think is impossible to happen. Creativity is the act of channeling in imagination into something concrete. It is the very first stage of design where ideas start to actually take form and a plan can be developed in it. Creativity, that is the initial step to take in an idea. Example of creativities are problem solving. What are the methods, the ways in which you are going to use in solving the impending problems of your society, localities? How do you intend to solve the impending problem that you are seeing? Because if you don't, ideas cannot come if the problems are not there. Then how do you intend to solve this problem? You must be a creative thinker. You must use creativity to solve these problems. Then example of creativity is brainstorming. You start thinking. You give yourself, in fact, your brain is always working. I have a problem. How am I going to solve this problem? Is there any way I will be able to solve this problem? You brainstorm in order to be able to get there. Another example of creativity is experiment. Yes. Okay. I've gotten the information. I've gotten all these things. Let me start it. Let me implement it. Let me experiment it and see whether it will work. That is creativity. Something that has never been in existence. Then you now experiment it and it works. taking for example, these people that invented solar energy. Before, it was not in we were using torchlight, and also even in fact before the invention of electricity itself. So, but people think, somebody just sat down to think, I think if we now produce, you know that this sunlight can generate electricity? The person now start thinking and then brainstorm. Then finally, he experiments it. And it come out to work very well. And that is what we are using now. Apart from electricity, we use solar energy or solar to generate energy, to do so many things. Then the next one example is storytelling. Storytelling, that's a creativity. Somebody can sit down and create a story that looks real and tell you, and you believe it. It comes out of imagination. Story comes out of imagination. And somebody, all these people that these story writers, some of the stories writers are imaginary. They imagine them and then they sit down and then write it. And people will see it and read it and love it. And so other examples, which I've mentioned just these few. Entrepreneurial creativity is the ability to identify a gap in the market and thinking of a product to fill that gap. As an entrepreneur, you identify the gap. You have the ability to identify the gap. And then you also think of what product should I use to fill this gap? What services will I render to fill the gap? Then having looked at what creativity is, then what is innovation? Innovation is the ability to apply creative solutions to those problems and opportunities in order to enhance people's lives or to enrich the society. So that means we see that innovation is a process of turning a new concept into commercial success or widespread use. Innovation is a successful exploitation of a new ideas. It involves turning an invention into commercial success and encouraging its widespread use. So this is a stage where bold ideas, once properly developed, are brought to the public eye. That is innovation. Let us look at examples of innovations. A bag that slow cooks food. Somebody will sit down and then invent and brought it to dim light. A bag that slows cooks food. Bottles light bulb. That's innovation. Mobile water safety check. Solar rechargeable hearing aids. As hearing aids that you don't use electricity to recharge it, but solar energy. Wearable breast cancer detector. These are examples of innovation. There are other examples of innovation. You can name them. Note, innovation cannot happen without creative or invention. Innovation cannot take place without creativity or invention. And neither creativity nor invention is useful in the business if it is not properly executed. So having looked at this, Let us also consider the theories of innovation and creativity. There are theories, there are laws that govern these innovations and creativities. With globalization, many scholars believe that organizations have significant changes and challenges from within and outside the entities. Indeed, the changes have profound impacts on productivities and other managerial affairs of the organization, thereby necessitating the creative and innovative minds, which could steer them to greater heights of development. Level of creative potential that the organization may be unable to enhance so that they could maximize efficiency. Besides, organization might react to employees' creativities and innovation, could demoralize them. That is, it could discourage them. The way the organization reacts to their creativity and innovation may discourage them from going further and even deter them from achieving objectives. Or also, it can also encourage them to go an extra mile with such innovative ideas. So whatever an employee does, it depends on the modes the organization looks at. You can encourage them, the organization can encourage them or discourage them. And the theories governs all these things. So let us look at the different theories now. The first one theories here we have here, there are theories to explain the concepts of the creativity. These theories are the Jagan's theory of creativity, system theories, functionalist theories, interpretative theories, racial humanized theories, and racial structuralism theories. So let us look at them one after the other. The Jagan theory of creativity. This theory says that creativity and innovation involves addition and subtraction of issues and objects to make a completely new and complex one that overcome limitations of the previous aspects. Besides, the subtraction element is more pronounced than the ones added. So the theory is the most concerned here. It is the theory that we are most concerned about. Is the theory comes and that gives an outcome other than is concerned about the outcome other than inputs, because some of the contribution could be removed for a better product. What their concern is output though, not input. Whatever you use as an input to get a better product is irrelevant, but what they are after is a good product. That's what this story is after, is a good product. Each person has a way of creating unique objects, using some applying the experimental means of overcoming the failures during the process. Number 3, through creativity, the person can learn simpler ways of doing things in his own way. Number 4, the intended results are achievable after persistent trials and mistakes, as trials and errors. You make mistakes, you cannot succeed. The theories make us understand that you can't succeed if you don't make mistakes, which make the inventor learn the most appropriate ways of nurturing the elements to achieve desirable and great objects. So trials and error, if you don't make mistakes, you can achieve. There is sense in what is talking about here. Then the next one is the system theory. The system theory is classified under domains individual field interaction. We have this domain individual field interaction, DIFI. The theory acknowledges that creativity and innovativeness are reliant on products, processes, places, and persons. In this theory, the individual's cultural and social factors have a significant influence on creativity and innovative products. The DIFI brings three interrelated aspects. That is the person, the domain, and the field that supports creativity. These three elements are of great importance of evaluating the success of organizational objectives as follows. The person here. The person in question here is the individual whose original ideas create new phenomena and products. The domain here means the systematic knowledge that the person ought to assess, if possible, have adequate expertise on the aspects, as this will enable the person to alter the current role of organization or domain so that he or she may create new ideas. The supportive field here is the company. No significant innovation can take place in isolation without the medium that seeks adjustment on its legal framework and process of operation. And process of operation. Then let us also consider the next theory, the interpretative theory. Here, the proponents of this theory argue that creativity and innovation are subjective, depending on personal interpretation and judgment. It's subjective, depending on someone's opinion. The new ideas that a person might introduce to the operation in organization could be perceived differently by colleagues and the management team. Yeah, the management team might presume that the ideas are intended to derail the smooth operation in the company, therefore might not be willing to support the proposal. That means at this point, by the time they have that notion, the morale of the employee is being killed. They are not giving such one encouragement. And this will also have a very negative impact on them. Here, the various forms of interpretations of ideas become the reason for considering that creativity is subjective. Here, they claim that the organization does not in theory, but only in practice, and that it is subjective for one to consider an entity like an organization. The organization are just like other concepts with varied meaning and significance, so do not have generalized meanings. So the point that a person's long-term knowledge with issues dealing with creativity inside the organization than the organizational initiative to promote creativity and reward creative employers. That the knowledge you must, whatever you need is, you must be there. Whatever knowledge you acquired is on the service. This makes the whole issue to be subjective and takes the perception of individual innovator. That is about interpretative theory. So here, one may perceive that the theory is complex when you look at it. One may perceive that this theory is complex. In fact, the concept is ambiguous to understand. So justifying the subjectivity of creative idea and action. One may also perceive that it is complex. The theory is complex. But in reality, the whole concept is a combined influence of motivation, ability, sense making, and personal knowledge of creativity and innovation. Having considered this, we will also look at we will quickly consider the functionalist theory. Let's look at the functionalist theories. Here, the proponents of this theory assume that to create significant changes in the organizational system, one has to interact with the system to familiarize him or her with the structure, himself or herself with the structure. That is the organization. The core issue in the theory are the fact that empirical research, data collection, and analysis could relate to creative ideas. As it should be research, data collection, information, analysis that will lead them to creative ideas, which seeks to correct the fundamental mistake of current research and ways of carrying out operations. Then let us also look at the radical humanist theories. Radical humanist theories. Okay. The theory relates to creativity and innovation with the process of achieving self-actualization. As you work and then get until you get to where you have self-actualization in real sense. Nobody has ever reached that stage. They believe that personal consciousness is dependent on organizational concepts and deliverables, thereby increasing or decreasing the ability of the person to come up with new and useful ideas. Alternatively, the organizational and mind structures could enhance or hinder creativity, thus indicating the need for the interplay between the concerns, personalities, and organizational affiliation. The domination of any one structures could affect the outcome of innovation. For the person's creativity to be fulfilling, there has to be liberation from all forms of nominations, either from mind or from all forms of dominations. As for a person's creativity to be fulfilling, there has to be liberation from all forms of dominations, either from the mind or organizational structures, or which interplay to give an outcome, which interplay to give a meaningful outcome. Let us also look at the radical structuralism stories. Radical structuralism stories. This story suggests that conflict is a societal phenomenon that necessitates a social change. The proponents of this story acknowledge the concern and acknowledge our concern and explain that there are certain structures, arrangement, and processes create create significant interference with the people's creativity and ability to bring in important changes in the system. The theorists also believe that through adhering to certain procedures, each person has equal chance of contributing to change creatively. This creates the assumption that creativity does not only arise from a section of individuals, but all have equal chance. Everybody has equal chance of being creative. It depends on your mindset. It depends on your opinion. It depends on your intrinsic motivation, not the outside inner motivation of life. Having looked at the theories, let us also consider the rules of creativity and innovation in business. One of the rules is that creativity and innovation help develop new ways of improving an existing products or service to optimize the business. This also allowed entrepreneurs to think outside the box and beyond the traditional solution through their opportunities. Through this opportunity, new, interesting, potential, yet versatile idea comes up. Creativity is also an innovation within a well-run company have always been recognized as a sure part of success. As a well-run company, look at creativity as an innovation as a sure part of success. Stimulating creativity and exploring completely new and unknown ideas before territories leads to results. That is to increasingly productivities of an organization. It helps to increase productivity. Creativity improves the process of solving problems. It doesn't matter if we are talking about developing a new strategies or an innovative way to stay ahead of the competitions. Creative problem solving gives the competitive edge. That's creative problem solving gives you a competitive edge over your competitors. Creative ideas and innovative approaches come from almost everywhere. Comes from almost everywhere. From your partners, customers, target groups, employees, and so on. So they can bring you fresh perspectives and ideas. So show them that you have a listening ears. So you do not have to open up to them, listen to them, open up to them, open up to their feedbacks. That's why it is important. That's why it is important and open exchange of ideas to be supported and encouraged by companies. Because if you open up to your customers, to those concerned, to your target groups, to your stakeholders, you will be able to have a breakthrough in your business. Innovation in entrepreneurship futures success of the companies depends on innovation and creativity. Depends on innovation, and it's also become more critical for creative people to stay relevant in the competitive market to survive despite the limited supply. You know that creativity said it helps those people in the open market, the competitive market. If you are creative and innovative, you stay back. You'll be able to remain in the market despite the obstacles. You will not be out of the market. Creativity leads to innovation. That is often the phrase. Creativity leads to innovation is often the phrase that implies how creativity and innovation are related and needed in entrepreneurship. Creativity leads to increase in productivity. It leads to increase in productivities. If you are ever feel that you are bogged down with work and struggles to get everything done, it is time that you should become more productive. As at that period, if you have so much to do that you have things to put together, at that point in time, you become more productive. To do this, start finding new processes. You start finding new processes. In order to work smarter, think creatively. It will help you. Focus on what things you should streamline and what things you need to cut out. Those are the things you should focus on. Also, focus on the programs and the workflow that you can use to increase productivity. For example, you have used a homegrown project tracker system to assign, monitor, and prioritize tasks. You may use other methods to do so. Do this also. But make sure that building one to meet your specific demand is recommended. You use this to meet your specific demand. All these things is that it will help you to be highly productive. Creativity and innovation also helps to market one's business. It helps to market one business. You can use various creative ideas and innovation to make your business stand out from the crowd. So here, sometimes small business marketing comes in. In order to make people remember your business, you need an innovative ideas. You can create a new brand, value added, develop quickly business, or can work with any non-profit organizations. They will help you sell your ideas to you. That means there is need for collaboration. Then creativity and innovation also will help enable you to beat your competitors hands down. When you think innovatively, it becomes very easy to beat your competitors. You just need to put a little creative and you can easily come up with something better ways of designing your products and connect with your customers. By so doing, you'll be able to beat your competitors. You look at your weak points. You use your strengths to beat them through innovative and creative ways. Having looked at this, let's also consider the next subtopic, managing challenges in creative and innovation. In a society that craves novelty, that is new things and new technologies, staying on cutting edge is paramount to an organization's survival. What better ways to stay one step ahead in the product's line than to have a strong creative tinkering away behind the scene? Have a strong creative team thinking away behind the scene. There are some people doing underground work. Creative employees are essential to company innovation. So as an entrepreneur, when you are employing people, employ people that are talented, people that are knowledgeable, people that are creative and innovative into to join hands to be part of your team so that they will help you to overcome challenges of innovation and creativity. Unfortunately, there are not always easy personality types to manage. Yes, even when you bring them, it's not easy. Human resource management is the most difficult aspect to manage because it has to do with human beings. And sometimes if to get such ones is not easy to come by. Then here are 5 pointers for fostering a creative atmosphere that you top innovators will appreciate. That your top innovators will appreciate. Number one, give them time. That is your team, your employers, people working with you. Give them time, space, and resources. Allow them to work on their own. Creativity enhanced by giving people more freedom and flexibility at work. Allow them to work on their own. Surround them with sort of boring people. That is, bring people out. Sometimes just intentionally, you bring people that are too boring, people that doesn't even know what to do. You can see that innovators work best alongside with these colleagues of theirs. These people that cannot work well. They work well. This person, I cannot do anything. No, let me just do it before he will spoil my work for me. Innovators work best alongside colleagues who are too conventional to challenge their ideas, but unconventional enough to collaborate with them. Motivate them without money. There are so many ways you can reward your creative or innovators in an organization. Not money. You can just give them a note, appreciation, award, apart from money. You can reward them in other ways rather than monetary reward. Give them meaningful work and then appreciate them. By the time you give them this assignment, appreciate them. I know you can do this. Go ahead and do it. You see that they will do it. Set goals. Many creatives are pressures motivated. Set goals for them. Set goals for yourself. Without setting goals for yourself, you will not be able to come out of creative challenges and innovation challenges. So give bad managers the boat. Giving bad, that's one is, you may think is that is the end. If you give bad manager the boat, give him the boat. In the end, all of the factors that negatively impact creativity are the results of poor management. So these are the 5 pointers in fostering creative atmosphere. People that you think that just give them, go ahead, do this, but make sure that you monitor them closely in order to be able to come out of their either negative way of doing things. You see that they will think positively and then break out of their shy stage and come out to be with creative ideas and innovations. Apart from these 5 ways listed above, there are other challenges in creativity and innovation and how to overcome them. The first one here is impractical expectation for innovation. It's impractical expectation for innovation. You see that extracting insight about what could go wrong and making room for possible errors with a build, measure, learn attitude can help deliver the best business value possible. After all, something that, it's not, in fact, I don't have in expectation, I don't need it, the expectation that can never be. No, you have to. By time, just put a focus stop. Tell yourself that it will happen. It will work out. I will be able to come out. This one is not something that is no, it can never happen. No, it will happen. You break out of it. So after all, great innovations take patience and time to implement. They look at things that seems no, is not visible. But innovators and creative thinkers, they take time to implement. They develop their mental grades to go on by setting the appropriate goal and expectation, while embracing a test small, fail quick. Sometimes they fail and come up again and learn quickly. Mindset in an atmosphere where certain delays hold back patience and in consequence progress. What is required here is patience. Think well, give yourself time, and then think creatively. By the time you do this, you'll be able to discuss your goal and define it, and then you come out, and then you'll be able to expect your outcome. So set the right expectation. Empowered innovation teams. You know that some organizations do not empower their teams. Many managers fear that innovation will distract employees from their day-to-day activities. So they don't want to empower them. By the time they empower them, they will be distracted. No. So as a result, let's say about 37% employees do not feel empowered to take risks or try to venture into new ideas. So you can see that internal innovation requires the support of leaderships and management to take hold across the organization. You can do this by encouraging your employees to spend time inventing. Give them a go ahead. By the time they come up with an idea, appreciate their idea. Appreciate them. Don't kill their morale, and help them through motivational activities, such as incentive programs and other things will help them to be able to come out of the innovation challenges. Lack of innovation strategies can also bring a setback in creativities and innovation. Like every other organization, initiatives, developing a conscious innovation strategy is crucial in business. An innovation strategies dictates the direction of innovation and its operational implementation. Without such strategies, innovation effort risks misalignment. So to develop an innovation plan and be transparent about it with your employer, you have to, as an organization, as an employee, as an entrepreneur, you have to develop an innovation plan and then be transparent with your employee for their insights. Ask them to bring in their contributions. Ask for their insights to show how serious you are in keeping them on board. Don't be an highland, you know all. Bring in, that is, include, let them come back, bring them in, let them also participate fully. You see, by so doing, they will appreciate you. Weak innovation culture is another setback. And how will you be able to come up of this weak innovation culture? Assess where you are in terms of innovation. That's the first thing you should do. Recognize where you stand innovatively. That is where you stand innovatively. Offer your proper indications of what rules, laws, activities, and procedures you need to put in place to foster an innovative culture. Make plans for where you wish to go from an innovative standpoint. Goals and objectives are taken into account in a strong innovation culture. Allow these factors, allow these factors to influence you or influence your company's day-to-day operations. Discover what needs to be done by learning from your current innovation culture. When you look at innovation, what do you need to do? How do you add value to it, to what you have done before? Ask employees for their insight, for their opinion. Ask them. We want to take another step forward in the business. We want to expand this business. What do you think we should do? Or we want to diversify the business or enterprise. What do you think we should do? Their insights will be much better. Their contribution will also help you to overcome this innovation culture. Lack of managerial support is the next thing we should talk about. Lack of managerial support. Align your business goal with your innovation strategies. It is not only, yes, it's not only adds business value to your innovative output, it also secures backing from management as it also meets business objectives. Be very clear on your innovation plan and execution methods. Clearly define every part of your innovation process, particularly your expected results and the outcome. What do you think are your expected results? What are the outcomes? This communicates confidence and indicates superior knowledge on the matter at hand, that you have a first hand. While innovation ideas should not always be prioritized according to their earning potentials. You don't prioritize innovation ideas according to earning potential. It is an essential factor for executive to consider upon deciding to support an innovation endeavors. Make sure that their concept has a strong economic impact. Resistance to change. This is another setback, another challenges in creativities and innovations. Misunderstanding regarding the change you wish to implement may contribute to the impressions. Educate your employees how this innovation can help you as an organization, and also how it can help them perform their tasks better. Emphasize the benefits of this change, the benefits that you can all get in implementing innovative initiatives. Emphasize on them, tell them, change their fear of the unknown to a feeling of excitement in implementing it. Also, highlight the fact that you will be there with them every step of the way. So walk them through all the phases. That is what you should do. Walk your employer through all the phases of their innovation plan. Carry them along. Let them know. Ask for their opinion, if possible, so they can see that they are needed. Also, they contribute to the change, to the journey. The next thing is the lack of internal and external collaboration. That's a very, in every business, in every organization, in every idea, you need people to collaborate with, both internal and external collaboration. Collaboration is the key to innovation and creativity. While many organizations understand the importance of collaboration collaboration internally also can equally be important. Not only don't collaborate with those that internal, those that in the organization, bring in people from outside, partner with them, bring them, they are very, very important. So innovation ecosystem brings together the industries, that brings together industry partners, customers, and even competitors to drive innovation in the industry framework. Bring them together to drive their innovation and creative ideas. Difficult in transitional from one phase to the other. That is moving from one phase to the other. Some people find it very difficult to move from that stage. Your business, your idea or whatever is not supposed to be static. It should be dynamic. You change along with the trend of the events, of the situation. Change along with what is going on. So develop a coherent innovation plan is critical for seamless execution of projects. An innovation strategy directs the course of innovation as well as practical execution. Without one effort to innovate, risks becoming misaligned. If you don't innovate, you are bound to engage in risks, to be involved in one risk that sometimes you may not be able to come out of it. Risk should be assessed when you are innovating. As an innovator, you should assess the risks. You know, an innovator or a creative person is a risk taker, but then you should know, measure them, assess it, assess the type of risks you want to embark on ahead of time. Determine what may possibly go wrong at each stage of process and devise countermeasures to assure its countenance. Then adopt a test and learn strategies. Adopt a test and learn strategies if you want to transform from one phase to the other. The last but not the least here is embrace constraint. You may be asking, how possible? How can I embrace constraint? How can I embrace problems, difficulties? Then constraint brings great success for those engaged in innovation or creative work. It brings success to them. Constraint is a counterintuitive to some, but it is a counterintuitive to some people. But constraints can create clarity. It can help you to understand your idea much better. Clarity of purpose enable people, teams, and organizations to design the right constraints that creates conditions for innovation to emerge and apply constraints and applied. Constraints can also be inspiring. problems, difficulties, challenges can be inspiring. So you don't always run away from it. If you are a good innovator, if you are a creative person, you must embrace constraint because it will give you an insight, a clarity of your work. It will help you to understand your idea better. Now, let's look at the significant. So we are looking at the significant. This should be significant. Now we are going to look at the significance of creativity and innovation as a determinant of business success. In any entrepreneurial venture, the significance of creativity and innovation is not deniable because, one, creativity and innovation in entrepreneurship link by which creative is intellectual activities to create new ideas, while innovation is the action taken to transform the new ideas into results. Creativity and innovation in any organization or enterprise venture are very important for organizational success. Three, creativity and innovation are separate business strategies and management of both. And management of both is required for the business running. And entrepreneurship is based upon the finding and exploiting new opportunities. So the effective exploitation of the opportunity leads to better performance of the venture. In an enterprise culture, effective management of resources is required through innovative methods, employing creative ideas. This will lead to organizational advantage and entrepreneurial success. Creativity and innovation leads to new ideas and business strategies, and the effective management of all kinds of resources make the organization grow. Creativity, innovation, and resourceful help in desired goals of the individuals associated with organizational through teamwork and individual goals achievement. The importance of innovation and creativity is increasing in the present organizational goal. The entrepreneurial culture with different values and leadership style across the globe control the creative and innovation employed in the business strategies. Creativity and innovation solve problems easily, as you need to come up with creative answers to solve certain problems in your business. Many times you face problems that don't seem to go away from you. So you need to think outside the box to find an answer you have never come with. This way you can make your products, store your inventory, and find creative solutions to make your business better. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for listening. Bye.